The UK is staying committed to measures that reduce the country's deficit. The British Queen has laid out her government's agenda for the next year. In her speech, she said it will work to promote a fairer society to reward those who work hard. However, what may sound a little unfair for austerity hit Britain on top of it is the news that the royal family is going to get a £5 million pay rise too. RT's Polly Boyker reports from London.
My ministers will continue to prioritise measures that reduce the deficit.
At the same time, the Queen is set to get a £5 million pay rise. This year, £36.1 million from the UK taxpayer will go towards the Queen and her residences. Her royal chefs and footmen cost an estimated £10 million a year.
The 36 million is divided into money which runs the royal household of the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh. Most of it goes on salaries, also on the upkeep of royal palaces such as Buckingham Palace and Windsor Castle, and on royal travel at home and abroad. The British monarchy has become synonymous with the image of Britain because it is the world's most high-profile monarchy. The Queen at 87 and her consort, the Duke of Edinburgh, at 91, are remarkable examples of public service and of national unity.
But the cost to the public purse rises steadily as austerity sets in.
The £5 million increase in the Queen's expenses from the state represents a 15% rise. Vital services are being lost while the Queen gets this big pay rise. I think it's very unfair, given that she is personally one of the wealthiest people in Britain, with a personal wealth of in excess of £300 million. The royal family has over 700 servants, 6 palaces. They can quite clearly afford themselves to cover any increased costs. They shouldn't be begging for the state.
It's royal spectacles, such as the daily changing of the guards at Buckingham Palace, that draws in tourists from around the globe. But in these times of austerity, some are beginning to question why the Windsors haven't tightened their belts along with the rest of the Queen's subjects.
Last month, the Guardian poll found that 88% of Brits weren't happy with the pay rise.
I think they should give more to the poor and they get too much money, to be truthful.
I'm not overly impressed, to be honest with you. I'm sure she's got more than enough money to survive and what she needs.
Yeah, OK, she brings in quite a bit on the tourists and whatever, but where does it go? Where does it go? You've got people that are homeless. I'm a care worker and, you know, they're being cut. Where does it go? I'll begrudge giving them my money.
Elsewhere in Europe, royals have had to rein in their spending in the face of public opinion. The Spanish royal family's budget has been reduced for a third year in a row.
The British monarchy actually stands out around the world. It's completely different to almost every other monarchy that you can think of, in the sense that they are still surrounded by so much pomp and circumstance and all the marching bands and the horses that ride alongside the fancy carriages. The published figures suggest that the royal family, the Queen and everybody else, costs us around something close to £40 million a year. That doesn't take into account all the extra security, all the police work that's involved in protecting her and the rest of the royal family, and it doesn't take into account the money that's lost to the exchequer, because she, and Prince Charles in particular, get lots of tax privileges that the rest of us aren't entitled to.
And while the government has pushed through budget cuts to the National Health Service and slashed welfare as part of an unprecedented austerity drive, there are those that say that Prime Minister David Cameron's promise that Britain is all in it together doesn't include the Queen of England. Polly Boyko, RT, London.